All startup companies need a great team. Exhibiting the confidence and leadership to attract highly skilled and creative people is no easy task. Rex Grinion represents the heart and soul of a Silicon Valley CEO who has the skills, passion, and vision to lead a startup company. Rex gave me several insights about the company's mission and the big picture his company is pursuing. So Rex, welcome to the show. Delightful to be here.
Be here, Jim.
And I thought I'd start by letting you, as president of Nimble Collective, tell us how do you best describe the role and the mission you have here at the company?
Well, Nimble Collective is, I think, first and foremost, a place for artists to come together. And to do that, we're creating a platform, a place where people can come and find the tools, they can find each other, and they can even find knowledge. They can come and learn at Nimble.
At the beginning here, what you're doing is you're providing this great tool set that you've developed for creative people to come in and build something. Is there another side to it, the customer, the end user?
Yeah, well, the end user, we call the users of Nimble our creators. So there'll be creators who come to Nimble to be able to make their ideas into reality. And to do that, there are, as you say, tools, and there are collaboration, and there's even mentoring from pros. So
the first problem you're solving, I think, is you're tremendously dropping the cost, the price of entry for a person to create animation.
Exactly. We want to lower the barriers, both economic and technical barriers for people to get started in the field.
Yeah.
Great.
Your technology is unusual in that you have really world-class technology here. Is that a correct statement?
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's nice to hear. We want to give people the tools. We want to supply the tools that people love to use. And we also want to supply tools that are very cost-effective for people. So we want to make it, if you want to use a pro tool, that's one thing. We want to offer that. But if you're strapped for money, we want to give you pro-quality tools for less money.
So is your company developing the tools, actually?
No, but we're partnering with tool developers and Blender Foundation, which is an open source tool, which is a very capable tool and only getting better. So we're supporting that effort that everybody will be able to use.
You're creating some examples for what can be done with your tool set. Is that right? And what are some of the examples? I think we're going to put a couple up on the screen here, but You've got some nice ones I saw on the internet last night.
Yeah, what you see in the background there. So while we're building the platform, we're doing a small pilot program. Small, but it's huge. We're making 5 short films at the same time. So we've invited 5 first-time animation directors who had really cool ideas to come to Nimble and work with us, and we're helping them to get their ideas turned into real films. And we're doing 5 at once, which is a big undertaking. It's about the same effort that you'd have at a given moment in a big studio. You'd have 5 teams working, so it's a big effort. And we're learning tons. We're showing that we can help people learn to become directors if they have great ideas. We're connecting them with great artists who can help them. And then we're also using our technology, of course.
Yeah. What does it take to put together a little animation film?
So we're helping the director who has an idea, let's say, and we have a producer here, our in-house producer, Jen, is helping them to get their head around what it will take to get that project made. We're calling in favors and friends and help, and we have a little budget on each of these, not a big, huge studio budget. And we're really sort of guiding the director through the process of how do you prepare the story and get a story reel together, how do you work with artists, how do you communicate your ideas, how do you give artists the room to contribute. Those things are all important parts of all this. And there's a process, and we're coordinating lots of people, connecting and collaborating. At its simplest, you could probably make a film with 4 or 5 people. If you were to do it in the studio way, it could be 150 people if you wanted to, if you're really coordinated. But at its most basic, which is where we want to start, is 5 or 8 people or something.
So 5 or 8 people to come together. You got some skills. You got some artists there. You got a storyteller. You got a director. You got somebody who manages the team, and then they produce this. And now, do they own that content?
Well, the director owns the content. It's the director's idea, and it's within Nimble. We actually want the director to be able to offer that to their collaborators, to maybe be able to do a revenue share or share a little bit of the profits. That's one option, or they can work with other folks in other ways. If they.
And so you have a community then. It sounds like that is available for me if I came here and say, well, you need a writer. you need a designer to come up with the characters, and you need this, and you need that. You're fine. You can write the story yourself because you're the one that has the passion to tell a story, but you put in the missing parts.
And that's exactly right. So we would like you or any director to be able to come to Nimble to initiate a project, and if you put it out there and say, hey, I'm looking for some help with storyboarding, if it's a cool idea that resonates with other people, you'll get people who want to help you with it, and we want to help that to happen.
That's great. That's very good. So how did you come to this? I mean, you must have done quite a bit in the past. I've read a little bit about you. You were at, I believe, was it DreamWorks?
DreamWorks for 25 years.
25 years.
At Pixar on a couple of films.
And you were the chief character designer, right?
It was called head of character
animation. Head of character, that's quite a title, head of character.
All the Madagascar movies.
Madagascar. So what did that involve? Did you have a team and you gave them your ideas and you evaluated how well they did it, or did you have to put your creative ideas in their heads?
Well, it's a bit of both. I mean, there are directors on every film. So first and foremost comes the director's vision. So the directors and producers would come to me as the head of animation and say, we have this idea for animation, can you help us to realize that vision? So in Madagascar, I worked with the designers and the directors to design the animation of how the characters would move, and then I assembled my team of supervising animators and animation crew and everything, and the processes, how we would communicate and work together, and the rigs and all these things. There's a lot involved.
I've never been in this environment, so if the character moves in a certain way and you like that, and the director said, well, that's not the body language I want to see conveyed. Exactly. Did that happen? Does it happen?
That's exactly right.
Really?
And yeah, I mean, if you think of, let's say you imagine Shrek, and you imagine, I don't know if you've seen the Madagascar movies, but they're much more cartoony and broad. Those movement styles are very different. The animation styles are very different in those two films, each one suited to its own needs. And that's an animation director or head of animation has helped define that.
So bands play a type of music, and no matter what song they play, it's all in the same style by and large. Is this true of animation directors too, that they kind of get a certain body language, a certain type of style in all their animations, or can they really vary?
Definitely. I'd like to think I'm more versatile than just Madagascar, which is that was a really great opportunity to show what was possible with computer animation. But as an animator studying movement, it really breaks down to the same principles. So whether you move more naturally or more cartoony, you're effectively you have to understand body mechanics, and you realize that in a different way, but a really good animator and animation director will understand the differences of the styles, and they'll adjust pretty quickly.
Really?
Yeah.
So certain personalities move different ways, they have different body language. Authoritarian people have a certain body language, passive people have a different. You have to be familiar with all that.
Yeah, exactly. So as an animator, you have to understand biomechanics. You have to understand the way people think, how they express their personalities through their body language, just the way we're sitting here, or the way when you're standing or walking through a mall or whatever. Everybody's different. And first thing we do when we have a new character is to establish their posture, because that just tells a whole story. Does someone slouch, or does someone stand boldly and thrust their chest forward? Those are all part of defining a character, and then how they move and how tense their muscles are and how directly they look. Those are all elements of personality. So animators have to be actors.
So now I got to ask this great question. I love that. I can't wait to ask this question. And given that you have studied this and executed animation, do you apply this analysis as you meet people consciously, or is it unconscious?
Well, a good animator is a great observer. So you are always observing. Most animators will have a sketchbook with them. They'll write down notes or do sketches of things they notice. So I think at first it was very conscious. I'd really actively go out and note and observe. And now I think you're just constantly drinking things in and observing people you interact with.
So you raised some funding. My question is, were you able to read your audience of investors in the same way when you were pitching them?
Well, you can always tell when someone's engaged and when they really see, the potential of something.
This is your first time as CEO, is that correct?
That's right.
Any particular things you'd give our audience as feedback on the first-time CEO experience?
It's been fantastic, and I've, knowing I'm a first-time CEO, I'm always a student of whatever I undertake. So I've done a lot of research. I have a couple of advisors that I talk to, people experienced CEOs that I can talk to for consultation. We have a great team here. We have great investment partners and a great board of directors. So I'm really surrounded by a lot of smart people. And by and large, I've run big teams and grown a department from 5 people to, a couple hundred people. So I'm somewhat experienced dealing with people, and that's a big part of I find this role is really building a team and helping the team to function the best. It's helping guide the vision and helping everybody share in that vision and participate.
I've walked through your offices. It's got a creative spirit and an appreciation of your fellow colleagues. It's a collegial place, to say the least.
Good. That's what we want.
So a couple small points I want to ask you about the future, but you're walking distance to Google. Does that have any effect on the environment here?
We have lots of friends at Google. We're thinking we might buy them one day.
Yeah, you're going to buy them? Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's great. And Google and a lot of the other companies around here have sort of set the tone for, not just how fun an environment can be, but it's a combination of the company taking care of people and the people working hard, and that's part of our ethos around here. Is like we want it to be fun, we want it to be enjoyable. We also really want people to really work hard and help us get where we're going. At a startup, especially, everybody has to be moving something forward, and every person here is here for a reason.
That's great. What should we look for in the technology or the company's new products or your rollout in the next few months? We'll say 6 to 12 months out.
Technology. We want this to be a soft landing place for artists. So artists can come in and get going quickly, can start their own studio around Nimble, can not worry about a lot of things that trip up non-technical people. So I think that's a pretty fresh way of looking at things.
Yeah. And if I'm a creative artist, or I believe I'm a creative artist, and I'm watching the show here in our audience, and what would be the next step? Should they go try out some of the tools that you have, watch your videos, or
go to the website, there's some videos that describe what we're doing, a lot of tutorials that help if you're interested in learning more about animation, or if you are an animator and you want to hear some great tutorials from pros, and then you can sign up for our newsletter, which we'll keep you posted on what's happening at the company, and as we get ready to do our next testing round, or we'll open that to our newsletter sign-ups.
Great. I want to thank you for your time. I've absolutely enjoyed it.
Thanks, Jim.
It's been a lot of fun.
Talking to you.
And we'll keep in touch on this.
Really appreciate you coming by.